Hey, toy nerds and tape heads, it's me, Valishard Toys and Tapes, and today I'm finally going to show you all my personal VHS collection. I'm going to give you guys some background, show off the highlights, show off some other details of my little tape room that I've put together, and if you stick around until the end, there's a chance one of you can win a super cool prize pack. So stick around for that, and let's get into it. Now, the majority of what's in this room I've picked up in the last 2 years, going back to February of 2020, when I picked up this faded and beat up copy of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Now, I'm a huge Pee Wee Herman fan and I love Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And at the time, I didn't have any tapes or a VCR and wasn't planning to collect them, but I was at a toy store in Dayton and saw this with some Pee-wee stuff, and I thought, you know, that'd be a really cool piece to put on my shelf with my other Pee-wee collectibles. And I didn't realize at the time it was going to sort of reignite this love for physical media that would become everything you see in this room. I currently have about 600 tapes in my collection. Most of them are in this room. I've started to run out of space, so I've put some in my workroom. Contrary to a lot of other tape collectors, I don't really care a lot about horror movies and horror tapes. I have a small collection of them, but the majority of my collection are cartoons that I grew up with or cartoons that maybe I never had time to check out. I also really love collecting weird tapes that people have labeled or recorded stuff on, or just things I never would have picked up or heard of otherwise. Alright, I think that's enough background. Let's actually get into the collection, starting with the Pee Wee Herman / Peewees Playhouse tapes. Highlights being my multiple copies of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Anytime I find a copy I don't have, I'll add it to the shelf. And you may notice I am missing volumes 9 through 16 of Pee-wee's Playhouse. I have not found those at a price that I like yet. And then down here, we have South Park and Batman tapes. For South Park, I'm still missing volume 8, 10, and all the releases past volume 11. And for Batman the Animated Series, I completed the set of 8 tapes, so I actually made and sell these extra 3 of Clayface, Scarecrow, and Harley Quinn. If you're interested, you can pick those up on valishardtoysandtapes.bigcartel.com. Look how good they look. They fit in with the others so nice. Dropping down, we get into some of the Nicktoon releases, starting out with SpongeBob, which I think I'm missing maybe 2 or 3 SpongeBob titles still, but I'm pretty happy with how big this collection's gotten. I've got 3 Jimmy Neutron tapes, a handful of Fairly Odd Parents. Again, I think I'm maybe only missing 1 or 2. 3 Rocco tapes, and then the Snick tape, the Nick Friends Variety Pack. This actually came with blank recordable tapes back in the day, and a Double Dare. There's just no other shelf spot for those, so they kind of have to sit on top of the others. Dropping down with more Nicktoon, we get into Rugrats, which is probably my all-time favorite Nicktoon. Again, I have most, but not all of the Rugrats releases. Again, all of these are hidden behind toys and collectibles. And then I transition here from Rugrats into Ren and Stimpy tapes, and then some stragglers over here. I've got 1 Ariel Monsters, a Rocket Power, Doug's Christmas. As we get down here, these are more like tapes for teens, or cool kids, I guess. You've got your Beavis and Butthead tapes, which I love, and I think I'm only missing maybe 1 or 2 of the more common releases in here, and then all 4 Earthworm Jim tapes, which, looking at them, are in a weird order. I have them going 4, 3, 2, 1. I need to flip that after this video. Both Tick releases, some Ninja Turtles, He-Man, Thundercats, Captain Planet, and then a handful of Reboot tapes, which, by the way, if you're watching this and you were a fan of Reboot, honestly, shout out to you. Reboot was the best. That was probably one of my absolute favorite shows as a kid. Now I'm fully sitting on the ground as we're finishing off some of these cartoon tapes. We've got some Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh tapes, which I will say, growing up as a kid, I was more of a Yu-Gi-Oh kid. I got into Pokemon a little bit later, and I will show probably my favorite Pokemon tape is this Toys R Us super slick little Pokemon preview that talks about how cool Pokemon's gonna be and that your kid's gonna love it. And I love getting to look back on that kind of stuff. We've got some of the later Ninja Turtle tapes from the 2000s. I only have 1 Beetlejuice tape. I would love to find the other 3. I really love the cartoon. Mask, She-Ra, Mario, Rainbow Bright, Smurfs, before Schoolhouse Rock. I still freaking love Schoolhouse Rock. I've rewatched these with my wife a couple of times. And then we get into some of my favorites, which are the McDonald's tapes. I love getting McDonald's stuff, and this isn't all of it. And I'm currently missing the third McDonald's tape. And while I'm on the ground, check out this freaking sweet Hollywood video carpet. This is from a Hollywood video that was closed, like all the others, and was being renovated and turned into a Dollar Tree. They were throwing out all this carpet, so I took home this piece and cut it and made it into a little rug. Going up to the top of the next shelf, these are all sort of like music related or some of my absolute favorites. So over here we start out with all the Weird Al tapes. I love all these, and UHF is one of my wife and I's absolute favorite movies. So we have two different copies that have barely any differences, but you'll notice on the bottom here, there's just some slight stuff, and on the tape itself, there are some very minor differences. You'll start to see over here a lot of duplicates, as these are some of our absolute favorite movies, with Phantom of the Paradise, Rocky Horror, and Shock Treatment. All three sort of in the same family. A lot of love for those. If you're a fan of Rocky Horror, which you've probably heard of, but you haven't seen Phantom of the Paradise or Shock Treatment, go watch those. And then going from these kind of goofy musicals, we jump over to The Ruddles, which is a Beatles parody, into some Beatles tapes, and then a whole bunch of other music related, whether it just be music videos or musicals. That's a B-52s cassette tape signed by Fred Schneider of the B-52s. Over here, we're getting into some classic trilogies and sets from Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Die Hard, Harry Potter, the Vacation movies, Ninja Turtles, Batman, Bill and Ted, and all three Ghostbusters movies. These next two shelves are sort of your classics. A lot of the tapes that I feel like most collectors, there's a good chance they have them. One of the ones I'll highlight here actually is Better Off Dead. I'd never seen it until I picked it up on VHS, and I loved it. And it's actually not on any streaming services. So if you can find it on VHS, absolutely pick it up. It's not worth a ton now, but I have a feeling it's one of these tapes that's going to go up in value. This shelf continues with some of these classics and other comedies, but has a few that are worth highlighting. To be honest, a good bit of these hold more value, like Napoleon Dynamite. That's one of the more valuable ones in the collection that I did not find thrifting, but I bought online. Same with like Kung Pao, both Kill Bill movies, Max Headroom. I mean, a ton of these, like Super Mario over there, they hold more value than you'd think. Even this copy of Goonies, which I really lucked out on finding, this is one that if you find this specific copy that does not have a barcode anywhere on it, this one can sell really, really well, especially if it's in good shape. Unfortunately, this one was written on and is a little beat up, but I was just excited to find it because this is the version that I wanted. All right, now we're getting into the few horror tapes that I actually do have. My favorite of all of them being Scary Godmother, which I mentioned Reboot a little bit ago. Scary Godmother was by the same company, Mainframe Entertainment. And for a lot of people my age, I'm 27, we grew up watching this on Cartoon Network pretty much every Halloween. And it still slaps. I love that movie. Again, a lot of the mainstays and classics. My wife and I really love Carrie, mainly for that one scene where John Travolta slaps that chick, like really gently, but it makes the loudest noise. Shadow, when you're editing this video, put that clip in there.
I told you not to call me that. Look out! I told you not.
Moving on over, we just have a few Christmas movies. I used to have a lot more, and I got rid of a lot of them. These are just the couple that I'll pick up every season. On to the bottom shelf here, we've got mainly SNL tapes. I'm a huge SNL fan. I know people like to hate on it, but you know, I'm a fan of it at most of its points. Probably my favorite thing down here is this 25th anniversary set. I never watched the 25th anniversary till I picked it up, and it's still a lot of fun. And then over here we've got some Dick Van Dyke tapes and Tom and Jerry. Those are two favorites of my wife. On to this next set of shelves, you get into some of the weirder stuff and the things that I didn't have as clear of a spot for. Starting with some of these cut box titles, over into some of these recorded tapes that I found thrifting. I will say these are some of the most important tapes in my collection. This one in particular, I grew up a huge Simpsons fan, and this tape is from 1990, and it's just recordings of the first season of The Simpsons on Fox here locally in Cincinnati. Picking that up was so cool and weirdly emotional to watch through that. Same goes for this over here. It's Batman the Animated Series. It's just several hours of Batman recordings that some kid's dad recorded for him in the mornings on weekdays, which is so sweet. And again, these are tapes that I'll just put on while I'm working on things, and I love to rewatch. And then over here, we get into some of the weirder titles. Again, these are things I love to pick up that maybe I don't know as much about. I also love to pick up tapes like this Yo-Yo Man, because it's where a meme originated.
I want to be a yo-yo man, he cried. Make me a yo-yo man. But the yo-yo master did not answer. He just kept on yoing.
You'd be surprised, there are a lot of memes that originated from VHS tapes, and I'm always trying to find more of them. This shelf's in a little bit of flux, so up here we've got a handful of Simpsons tapes that I've picked up sort of at random, going into Muppets and Muppet-related. And then over here, these are some of my absolute favorites. The Mind's Eye and Beyond the Mind's Eye. I had at least one or two of these as a little kid growing up, and if you've never seen them, they're very weird 90s 3D animations with music behind them. They're kind of experimental and trippy, and kind of relaxing, but really, really fun if you've never checked those out. Try and track some of those down. These next couple shelves, I'll admit, are kind of a mess. These are all tapes that I've picked up a little bit later, and I just don't have a specific spot for. A lot of really good titles and some rarer titles in here as well. I just don't know where to put all of these. As we move down over here, you have some other kind of weirder titles and things like that, like How to Dance the Macarena. And I do love finding like stuff about Universal or Disney. There's this one hidden here. It's a video tour of a Meijer, specifically one of the local Meijers. I loved picking that up. And I gotta take a second and talk about Goodnight Moon. If you don't know what this is, guess what? Yes, you do. If you ever find a copy of this, just pick it up and check it out. It is so much fun, and all the kids that are interviewed in it are so weird. Finally, the last little section in this room that I keep tapes is underneath the TV. A lot of these are tapes that I'm planning to sell soon, like these multiple copies of Mean Girls, Kill Bill, and another Kill Bill, but this one is a screener tape, which is super cool. And hidden back behind here are, again, a bunch of blanks that I found with weird stuff recorded on it. Some of them are actually personal, like that one is our wedding tape. But I will take a second to highlight both of these Marlboro tapes. I actually have one more that's coming in the mail right now. It should actually show up in the next hour or so. These I found for pretty cheap, and they only have about 2-3 minutes on them, but it's people doing karaoke in the late 80s. And once I have enough of these, I'm planning to edit all of them together and post a compilation that's hopefully 20 to 30 minutes, because you guys don't even understand. They're so awesome. Oh, hey, sick, you made it to the end of the video. That's super cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at the collection. You know, I had a lot of people asking me to show it off, and I always felt like, you know, who's gonna watch that? But honestly, I would. I love seeing other people's collections, so hopefully you enjoyed. And I mentioned at the beginning of the video that if you made it to the end, you would have a chance to win some sort of a prize pack, right? So here's the rules. Over the next 2 weeks from the point of me posting this video, anyone can leave a comment below of what tape in the room you would most want to take off the shelf and pop in the VCR. Personally, I'd probably watch Phantom of the Paradise for like the 6th time. I'm really in the mood to rewatch it. But out of all these, which one would you want to watch the most? I'll use one of those random generators and pick one person out, and that winner will receive a box from me with 8 VHS tapes and some random old nostalgic toys, stickers, and other goodies. And I promise they're not going to be crap tapes. There's going to be some rare ones and some fun ones and some unique ones. So you got nothing to lose. You made it this far, so just let me know which tape would you want to watch. If you liked it. If you didn't, I don't know why you watched the whole thing. But anyway, Shadow Wolf, aka Valishard Toys and Tapes, signing off. See you in a year or two whenever I make a video again. Bye!